Hey everyone, welcome back to the Midwifery Wisdom Podcast. Taking a little break today from our regular programming to bring you a little snippet from our Midwifery on the Move series. This 4-part webinar explores what it means to live a mobile midwifery lifestyle, the beauty, complexity, ethics, and practicalities of working across borders. You'll hear from Katrina, a licensed midwife and educator, and Jada, a neurodivergent midwife and disability justice advocate. They share powerful stories of cross-cultural work and personal transformation. If this resonates, it's not too late to join. Recordings will be immediately available to you of the first 2 parts, and then you can join us for the live sessions in August. Sign up on our website, www.midwiferywisdom.com.
Well, hey folks, we are in it for the long haul. This is a 4-part series. You're here on part 1. And I'm really hoping that we bring you what you need to live this adventurous life, because live a great life, y'all. It's so fun to be out here on the road. So I want to share it. So we're talking about what travel midwifery is in all the different ways there that shows up. And you might not have even thought of some of the ways that people make a mobile lifestyle and midwifery interchange. So I'm going to share that. We're also going to talk about ethics, about cultural differences. We've got some real foundational ethical situations to talk about, legal, practical insights, all these things. We're going to have this really elaborate, fun adventure together. There are some challenges to consider. Obviously, don't wear rose-colored glasses all the time. Travel midwifery really isn't all sunsets and rainbows. It can also be really hard, really lonely. There's all these legal things you have to think about. Of course, the growth that you can experience by travel is exponential. You know, Trevor Noah, one of my favorite influencers, says, like, the one thing you will never waste your money on is travel. And I agree. I think the experience of being out in the world, getting a global perspective, really developing cultural humility, creating income freedom is just amazing. And then the experience of all of the minor and major hardships, all the adversity is really what allows you to become a more expansive human. I think there's nothing better than we could do than travel. I'm so excited to introduce Katrina. Katrina is a licensed midwife in California, and she has a background in psychology, a decade in maternal care. Holistic and individualized approach is her mantra, and she began with prenatal yoga and doula work and childbirth education, and eventually through the National Midwifery Institute. For almost a decade, she has been attending births locally and internationally, and she's a really passionate speaker and educator. I've had her on my podcast, and she came and taught an international conference that I led. And she's also a mom of 3, an Ironman triathlete, and a deep nature lover. We're so excited to have you here, Katrina. Thank you so much for sharing your time. People would love to know where you have traveled.
Yes, great. So my first journey as a traveling midwife was actually to India with Augustine. And, I wanted to travel internationally from the very beginning. I have a really deep passion for improving maternal and neonatal outcomes globally. And I also believe that midwifery is a universal language, and it's something that's deep inside of me that I've always wanted to be a part of those conversations, and I've always wanted to be a part of those tables, because I believe that midwifery knows no bounds, and being able to cross those bounds and connect with midwives and birth workers everywhere is incredible. So being immersed, especially in India, in such a culture that's rich in tradition, yet actively transitioning towards strengthening midwifery care, was truly like electrifying. And I wish I had really awesome things to explain exactly how I feel, but if you haven't done international work before and you're thinking about doing it, like, do it. It's magical. It's amazing. It's life-changing, both personally and professionally. And I think one of the most beautiful aspects is we're learning as a traveling midwife just as much as the people that we're coming to support and to encourage and to grow with. And so I think it's so neat to share that feeling with them, and to be so far from home, yet feel so at home in other countries. So India was my first experience. And then this last year, I was able to go to the Philippines, and I spent some time over there on several different islands, which was really amazing. Next year, I'm going to Portugal.
Awesome. That's so great. You got bit by the bug in a big way.
Yes.
I am really excited to start with Jada today and just really welcome them as an endorsed midwife here in Australia and a outspoken neurodiverse advocate, disability justice advocate, and also a PhD researcher. Their work centers on neurodiversity, affirming perinatal care, and a special interest in supporting autistic and ADHD families, and also, I think, autistic and ADHD midwives. Jada is a regular speaker at national conferences on neurodivergent perinatal experiences, systemic barriers in maternity services, and participatory action research approaches. Jada has practiced as a registered midwife in the UK, Canada, Australia, and has, is that Tasmania, I think, with a focus on, no, Tanzania, I'm sorry, with a focus on rural and remote communities. I was reading too fast. Well, welcome, Jada, and I'm so glad that you're here. And we're really excited to hear more about your journey, where you've been and what it's been like. So please take it away and tell us all about it. How did you get started in travel midwifery, and why is it super meaningful to you?
It's a bug, definitely. I don't know if anyone else has said that, but once you realize you can do it, it's like, I can do this thing. Now I've done it once, I've got all the paperwork, and it can't be that bad going somewhere else. But yeah, I'm an ADHD myself, so I've got autism and ADHD combined, but I think my ADHD is kind of like the more dominant. And so I'm very restless, and I really have this like drive to see the world and learn by doing. And so that's probably what got me into it in the first place. My first travel midwifery was to Tanzania in Africa. I went with a group of midwives from the UK. So I trained originally in the UK, and a group of us went to Tanzania, and we saw a few different hospitals, rural and remote, and in the cities as well. There's a few different like volunteering opportunities out there. TAMA and the White Ribbon Alliance are two organisations that you could contact to talk about opportunities out there. Basically, it was just a beautiful place. I thoroughly enjoyed meeting the midwives there and the midwifery students as well who are training. Seeing how, there's so many different ways to practice as a midwife, and when you leave your bubble, you kind of see so many different opportunities out there.
When you're evaluating different opportunities, different organizations, different countries, different missions, just really try to imagine, am I centering myself or am I centering that community? Here's a really important quote. We don't need more foreigners with cameras or protocols. We need midwives who will sit down, ask what's missing, and stay long enough to understand the answer. Ugh, doesn't that just hit you? This is what the world is kind of asking for when you are in a different culture than your own. It needs to be said that white saviorism is a part of this whole saviorism concept, and that international aid has historically really exploited this and reinforced power imbalances, oftentimes centering themselves in the story. There are lots of examples, and these acts often extract resources, they extract or benefit from media attention, emotional gratification, and they're really not improving any local conditions. And then, of course, worse is that they're actually causing harm. So some common missteps: please don't teach unrequested skills. This is a really important one. Teach what you're being asked to be taught. Don't expect fathers to be in the room. Don't expect women to be naked when they labor. Don't help them take off clothes. Like that's not needed or wanted. Don't offer remedies or medicine outside of that culture. And in fact, don't even offer that culture's medicine because you're not a practitioner in it. And don't assume your way is best.
That was a huge learning experience for me, is every single one of those that you just talked about. They're huge in other cultures. And in America, we're like taking off the bra without even talking to them, or where is your husband? How come your partner's not in here? Like that kind of mentality is so American, and not other cultures are big on that.
You are right. You are so right. Thank you for that. Yeah. And there's probably many more, right? But this is just some common things that we need to be clear about. So the first topic we're going to really try to dive into is cultural fluency versus cultural competency. So in the the last decade, lots of well-meaning institutions have tried to implement cultural competency classes or certifications. And as we all know, that's kind of ridiculous. We can never be competent in someone else's culture. What we are looking for is more fluency. And this means being aware of the power that you carry and the space that you take up, even when you don't mean to. So cultural competency is not just about their culture, it's really about your culture. And competency implies that is something you can like check off a list, like I am now competent. But actually, fluency is about honoring that culture is alive and layered and always in motion. And cultural humility is that lifelong practice of self-reflection, accountability, and openness to the ways that we impact others in our space, especially when we're in their space. And so again, it's not about becoming competent in someone else's culture. Culture is not a course, it's actually a relationship. And this comes from the teachings of Dr. Jones and Dr. Tervalon. And they coined the term cultural humility in contrast to cultural competence. And I much prefer that phrase. So the power of this global siblinghood, birth binds us across cultures. Our differences are real, but so is our shared struggle for autonomy, safety, and dignity, and respect is at that foundation of solidarity. Well, next session, which is in a month from now, we're doing 2 days close together in the beginning of August. So we're just kind of let this marinate for a while. We're going to send you some reflection prompts. And session 3 is all about the nitty gritty of how you do this, what organizations you find, where you submit your name, how you pack your bag, how you prepare for culture shock, how you come home again, all those things. So we'll get into the nitty gritty of it. And in case you're talking to anyone and they're like, oh, I want to know about that, you can still sign up and get these recordings. So make sure and share that with folks if they're interested. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Take really good care of yourselves. And thanks for being here.